abuse. Okay, issues concerning early marriage. I could remember, I will share this case with you. I could remember sometimes last year while I was on duties, a girl who is who is in grade 8, came to the office and complained that her parents give her hand in marriage, but she don't want to go to the husband. She wants to continue her education. And secondly, if she is taken to her husband, she's going to poison her husband. So I say this is an issue and it's a concern. So what we did was, we invited the mother of the child and invited the husband. So what happened here was, we informed the mother that you have to consider the best interest of your child. Because your child says that she wants to go to school, she wants to complete her education, and now you want her to go and marry. So you need to consider her opinion, her view is very important, because of when she goes to school, she's capable of being something in future and she could assist the family. Now, if you take her for marriage and then secondly, she happened to poison her husband, you have a question to answer, because you are the very one who forced her to go in for marriage, and she's a child, the law is protecting her. The mother adhered to what I said and said, yes, that's true. And then she accepted that the child will be going back to school. But the husband have already put money, given them money, and this money, they have already ate it. And then the husband is very old. I think he is about 55 years. And the child is just less than 18, or maybe around 14 to 16. So now, the husband is not willing to just leave the child to stay with the parent. Now the husband says that, okay, well, you know what we're going to do? I accepted that, but please, just allow the child to stay with me, and then she'll be going to school. We told him that, well, anyway, we cannot allow this child to stay with you, because if this child stays with you and happen to get pregnant, it's another issue. Or secondly, if this child happens to poison you, and then she has mentioned it here clearly that, she is not ready for the marriage, and that secondly, she is going to poison you. So what if now, if this child happens to poison you, what is going to happen? What are we going to say? Because we already had the initial complaint, and we need to take action. So we mediate with them, and then the case was finally referred to the Department of Social Welfare. And with the help of the Department of Social Welfare, that matter didn't continue. So the other issue here is that, the issue of teenage pregnancy, because of, most of these forceful marriage is because of this resort to teenage pregnancy. Because if you have a child, she's going to school, and then she's been impregnated, and now she's been withdrawn from school, because of once you get pregnant, you cannot be going to school. So the parents feel fear that, it might happen again. And then they will just look somebody who is responsible or who need the child, and then they just give you hand in marriage. So we have been receiving such cases like that of teenage pregnancy.
What could it be? What is that case study? And how has this been a case that has really touched you as a woman, a mother, and then also that also celebrate?
Before I come into the case stories, I guess it needs to be clear that either early marriage or teenage pregnancy, whichever way, early marriage is teenage pregnancy as well, because it's the teens that are being married off. And the most important thing for us to understand is that it has health implication. And the health implication can be very severe. The pelvic bones of the young girl is not really developed to a stage where it can carry a baby. And as such, if there is pregnancy, both mother and child are at high risk of death. If the Gambia, we all know, has high maternal mortality. Majority of the cases are child marriage related. Therefore, we are challenged not to achieve MDGs 4, 5, and 6 if we don't address the issue of early marriage and teenage pregnancy, because they are interlinked. It's the teens that have been married off. The sad part of it also is that they might also have disabilities through long and prolonged labor, right, can result to disabilities. It can also result to fistula, and we have a high rate of women and young girls with fistula. And fistula is a health condition where the bladder is affected and it can no longer hold on urine nor feces. So as it comes, it just comes out like that. So most young women and girls are suffering silently, right, with fistula, and in addition, which is pathetic. I have worked with quite a number of young women who have fistula, and the stories that they have explained are pathetic, because most of them are isolated. They don't have any life for themselves, because most of the time they have their sanitary pads with them. They have to change it frequently, so they don't socialize. So they have no life outside the bedroom. If they are married, they are not allowed to cook for the family because they are termed not to be clean, so they don't engage in cooking. If they have co-wives, they are abused emotionally, right? Secondly, they don't have any relationship with their husband. So why do you get these girls being married off early if this is one of the conditions that they will have to suffer? I have handled a particular case, Musu, which really I became powerless at a point, because this is a girl who has alerted authorities that she has been forced to marry. She called the school principal, who asked her to report to his office, and unfortunately she couldn't at the time, but ran to the residence of the principal, who alerted the education authorities. And because we work closely together, the education authorities also alerted us, and we placed the child at the shelter for children for protection. While she is there, she was also really a difficult child. After we've done the background check, we've noticed that parents really don't trust her. And it is important for you young girls to earn the trust of your parents. They don't trust her because she usually ran away from home, spend weekends to friends without permission. She goes to school and come back late and cannot explain where she has gone to. So they fear that she might be made pregnant sooner, and they decide to give her hand in marriage. When we placed her at the shelter, she was also texting the principal that she's bored at the shelter. While the social workers were busy working with her and the family to see how best they can dissolve this marriage and get her back to school, because according to the principal, she was doing very well in school. She was also really not giving the principal real truth of the situation at the shelter. She said she's bored, she wants to go back home, she wants to go to school, and at that point, she really needs to be at the shelter for the psychologist to work with her, for her to be prepared so that when she goes back to school, she will know what to explain to friends, right? Then she was returned back to the family, but fortunately for the social workers, because the education officers said, well, it's okay that the family said they have dissolved the marriage, so the marriage cannot be again. They want the child to be returned back. We are of different disciplines. Yes, the child can go to school. This is the thinking of the person with an educational background. But also the psychologist knows that the child is not yet ready, and the situation is not really right for the child to go back. But there were a little bit of arguments, and what the social worker did was to ensure that the family sign and make an undertaking that the child will not be married off, will not join the husband. The very day they released the child to the family, they took the